Okay, so this is our, I guess you call it follow-up episode. When we started the last episode, we thought we could squeeze Vivarium and Backrooms into one. That ran a little longer than we thought. It's no worries. It's okay. So we're going to be ranking the Backrooms today. Um, we'll pretty much just follow the same format as we have. So, Tacoma, we'd like to start with a quick synopsis of the movie. It is, as of the time of this recording, I think it's still on theaters. We've recently watched it in theaters. So it's a 2026 sci-fi horror, rated R, 1 hour 51 minutes, and tell us what it's about.
Yeah, this says a strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom, leading to an endless network of interconnected rooms where time bends, and the only thing scarier than getting lost is the sense that something is lying in wait.
What do you
A
think?
little suspenseful. Yeah. So, I mean, it's spot on about the beginning. Of
Yeah.
course, you have this door that the main character Clark discovers to the back rooms
Mm.
through the bottom of his furniture store, which kind of sets the tone for the movie because it's where it takes place. That's where he kind of like explores from there, and then ends up getting his therapist involved, and
Right.
figure that's pretty much the basics. Maybe we'll like
Oh yeah,
get a
we'll
little
cover more.
deeper throughout our
Sure,
ratings, but
sure, sure.
that's kind of the simplified bit, the premise. Of course,
Right.
it's a movie based around the Backrooms, the original Post.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get at least a little bit into that,
Yeah.
and we may do. You know what? Let's go ahead and do a little bit of that before we do our rankings. Usually, we kind of filter some of that stuff throughout while we're talking about the categories that we rank. But we can touch on a little bit of that if you want now. So, like, where did
Right.
this come from?
So it came from an image, and I guess the original Post was an image with a little story, which was pretty much similar to the Backrooms we know now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, People didn't actually know the origin of the image until like a little later, but when people looked into it, it was like some old picture of like a hobby store
Mm.
that was like cleared out, which is why it like looked so weird. um, but that was the original. It was just like an image and a little story on a post a long time ago, and the internet like just picked it up, and they loved it. And this movie specifically is, I guess you would say, Kane Parsons, the director, like his interpretation of the Backrooms. It's
Right.
um,
But now he's the same one that did the was it a YouTube series?
he has a YouTube series. Yes,
Yeah, it's also the Backrooms.
right. This is I've heard him say that like this is like an episode in the series. The movie is,
Okay, interesting,
so
interesting. So
it's all intertwined.
yeah, and I didn't know really any of that other than kind of what you had mentioned to me before watching the movie. So I kind of like that we had the two different perspectives going into it. You know, one with some more background knowledge, one without, and then we'll kind of see how that works from our different perspectives going forward. So I think last time I carried the first two topics going first, and you went first on the last two, and I thought that flow went pretty well. So I think we'll try it again. So our first category is visual. Like, how do we rank this movie visually? There's going to be a lot of similarities, I think, to the last one, just because that's intentional with the liminal spaces and things like that.
Right.
I did like their visual approach to the space, as far as the rooms and how they look. And again, I know some of that um, is already kind of like, well, this is what the Backrooms is because it has source material.
Right.
But I still liked it. Um, I liked the way we sometimes got to see it in sort of this first person view. I thought that went pretty well. Sometimes I feel like those views in movies don't work, and sometimes they work better than others. I thought it went pretty well with this one. Um, okay, some things I didn't like visually though. The characters that were stuck in the back rooms that were like the memories. I did not care for that visually. Like when they would have, you know, three or four eyes, not three or four. It'd be like it'd be like four or six or something kind of weird because it's like layered.
It'd be
Because
like distorted.
yeah, distorted or layered because they're not all there, um, or they're all there but not complete. Kind of, I don't know.
Right.
Distorted's a good way
They're
to put it.
being remembered
Yeah.
like
Um,
less.
I, I didn't really care for the way that played out visually. If we're just focusing on the visual of it right now, I didn't care for that. There were, but a lot of the movie I really did enjoy visually. I enjoyed the main antagonist, like the way they treated that, the way we didn't know what he looked like most of the movie. We got shadows, and I thought that went really well. It kept me guessing. Like I had no clue what we were going to be seeing.
Right.
Um, and then when we finally did see, it was a little awkward. It was like, oh, that's the villain. But it worked again visually for me. I thought it was done really well. And I don't know, overall, so I'm going to go kind of high, but it's interesting because when we just got through ranking Vivarium, the movie that we wanted to watch before we watched this, and I had this thing where I ranked these early categories really high and then all fell off at the end. I don't know how that may influence my thinking here, but I still really enjoyed the movie visually, so I got to go at least a 4. Um, I think that's where I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go 4 and turn it over to you. What do you think?
4. Well, I'm kind of. It's hard. I'm going to be a little biased, of course. I
Yeah.
have way more familiarity with the source material and everything, um, but I mean, Backrooms movie. We're talking liminal spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was great visually.
Yeah.
I mean, Vivarium was cool. The space it had, it worked with very well. I think the thing with the Backrooms movie for me is not only is it like the original, but it introduced multiple spaces as
Mm-hmm.
well that I think all did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I'm a big fan of the scenes, especially where they did where it was like recordings. Like what's that one movie? Um, like it's from the point of view of like the person like recording.
Oh, okay. So, are you talking about the scenes where you got to see somebody watching another screen?
No, but like in the beginning of the movie, like it was a video recording of a person.
Oh, okay, like found footage.
Yes, found
Yes,
footage.
yes,
That's what
yes,
it
yes,
is.
yes.
Yeah,
I do agree, and I think I remember making a comment later, like, oh, it reminds me of the Blair Witch Project.
yeah,
Just visually, obviously, the premise not so much, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think with that, like, I guess perspective, I huge fan of
Mm-hmm.
that, and I think it helped add to so much of the visuals. Because I think there's one of my favorite scenes
Mm-hmm.
might be from like one of those times where it was like you're seeing the found footage
Mm-hmm.
thing, but yeah, love the area, the environment of that movie. Visually, it's stunning. I actually heard that they built like 30,000 square feet of backrooms for that movie.
Interesting. Wow.
They built, yeah, it was a lot. I heard people were getting lost on set and stuff. I heard that, I was like, wow. So I think it was even cooler then to hear it and be like, oh, so
Yes.
this isn't like all green screens. This is like real. They're there.
Right. Right.
I thought that was cool. And yeah, I love the visuals of the movie. I think for like a rating,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty high for me. I mean, like I said, I think we're talking liminal spaces, this kind of stuff. I feel like this is maybe as good as it gets.
So,
Um,
ooh. Well,
for
not
for
five
that.
good.
Right. I'm still not. It's not the spectacular. It's we're not like
Yeah.
going up there.
Yeah.
It's no Godzilla Transformers visuals, but for what it is, it's probably some of the best. So I would say, honestly, I'm stuck. I'll say 4.5.
4.5.
I think it's really up there. I really like the visuals of that movie.
Cool, cool. Okay, well, let's keep going. So the next thing that we like to rank is pacing, and I thought this one actually had a really good pacing. There was an issue I had that I don't know if it fits more into pacing or storytelling. And me and you've talked a lot about this before. I may save this critique for storytelling because the pacing I thought was really good. The only thing about the pacing is sometimes we were going back and forth, and I didn't understand either why or what we were getting at. So there was the therapist character. We eventually find out that there was a scene early in the movie that involved her as a child, and the house was being demolished, and it was very vague. We didn't really understand it, and then we were supposed to be able to put it together at the end of the movie, or at least later in the movie. Um, I don't even know if I really was able to put it together later, like as far as what they really wanted me to get. Um, but from a pacing perspective, it came in at an odd time. I didn't really get it. Um, I thought opening the movie with the found footage worked really well. I thought once we got to the main character, Clark, his story moved pretty well. Um, Again, I have an issue towards the middle of the movie where he kind of, like his personality almost changed in the back rooms. But that, again, may be more of a storytelling issue than a pacing issue. The ending, um, I don't know. It wrapped up kind of weird, and I don't know how much of that is again a pacing critique or a storytelling critique. Um, so the pacing was good at times, really good actually, and at times it felt weird. So I can't go super high. I'm gonna go 3.5. Like it's good, but there was some clunkiness there that just I don't know. I That's where I'm at. I think.
Could see that. I could kind of agree at how sometimes there are scenes that feel maybe oddly placed or
Mm-hmm.
like weirdly timed. I I think for the most part, I really appreciated the pacing. I can't really think of too many moments where I was like, this is playing out too long. This isn't playing out long enough. Um, it's hard because I would say it's generally no complaints.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that should get a high rating, and maybe I will give it a pretty high rating because
Yeah.
like I feel like when I do have problems with pacing, it usually brings it down a lot, or like I feel like I can be harsh when it comes to pacing, and I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah, yeah.
if that brings down the total score, I feel like maybe if I really didn't have too many problems
You
with the
might as well give it
pacing,
a high score
I
if
might
it
as
if
well
it
go
deserves
higher,
it.
right? Because I don't know what is a better paced movie. I feel like pacing is on like more the polar ends. Like it's really good or it's really bad. I guess it can be
Yeah.
sometimes towards the middle.
Right.
Like Vivarium. I think that might have been one of the more unique cases. But I think there's maybe more like a it was bad pacing. Parts of it was good, parts of it was bad, and it was generally good. I
Yeah.
think this is towards the top end. I'd probably say 4.5.
Wow. It's so funny. We're almost complete opposite of the last movie. Okay, so we're kind of moving right along, which is fine. It's funny because we feel like we dragged on the last movie, so it's just funny how the recording just works out that way. Sometimes we talk a lot, and sometimes we're just figuring it out. I want us to get into now the highlight of this film. So, what's your like? If I'm going to recommend a scene that's my favorite scene, or just like what's your highlight? That doesn't have to be a specific scene. It can be, um, I don't know, something. Maybe it's a character or a reveal or something. But what you got?
Well, it's weird because I don't think this one is in competition for my favorite like scenes or parts, but I did like the Captain Clark reveal,
Mm-hmm.
like finally seeing, you know, what is the entity in this Backrooms, especially for me because um, having seen the original series first, I was kind of expecting something different. So
Okay.
when they revealed Captain Clark, I was like, oh, this is new to me. I feel like things are different now. Like there's more to think about, and it was really intriguing. but I actually don't think it's up there for me. There was two scenes I
Mhm.
think of that are really in big competition for me. The first one was the Christmas tree room. I loved that scene.
Oh, yes. So he goes in, I think, like I remember he's going into that room, there's a Christmas tree, and like immediately it's like this is a different space. And because okay, I think this is the other thing I tended to forget is this is billed as a horror movie. Because it's not like it's not a slasher, it's not a gory movie. It's like there's so many things that it's not
Right.
that you almost forget like it's psychological horror. I think if I remember right, there might have been like literally one jump scare throughout the whole movie. And I do think I remember jumping in my seat. but but yeah, I think I remember walking into that room going, oh, the tension has changed. Like it's and then there's the characters that
Yeah,
are revealed in that scene.
there were the two still lives. I feel like um, that scene, firstly, like the whole found footage thing,
Mm-hmm.
I think it added so much to that
Mm-hmm.
scene. I think had it been like just a regular shot, I don't think the vibe would have felt right. Um, I don't know what it was about the room, the lighting, like the music, everything. Like I feel like was so good about that scene. Like
Yeah.
really had me on edge. Um, I feel like it's not it's kind of random almost, but I really like that scene for all those things. And the other one that I like a lot, and I feel like this is going to differ
Mm-hmm.
from people who know about the back rooms and don't
Mm-hmm.
know it before it. Um, and I don't think you would actually know this one because I don't think you've actually seen the original image yet.
No, I
But
haven't.
there's a moment in the movie, I forget why. I'm pretty sure they're probably running from something, but they're running
Mm-hmm.
through the halls. I think Clark is, and you get this one shot where it like pauses for a little bit, and this angle you're at, it's like the original image.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's the thing. I was like, that was I saw that in the movie. I was like, oh my goodness, they did that. I'm so happy they did that. So
Nice.
that was a really cool moment. I think, especially if you've seen it, if you know before, that was a really fun moment to see. That might have been the highlight for me personally. I think if it's between the two, ah, gosh, it's so hard. I don't know if I can pick one.
I mean, I don't know if you have to. I mean, we can
Right?
do whatever we want. It's our show. Um,
True.
can you give a ranking if you put
Right?
the two together?
Ranking. If I put the two together and just like, hmm, I would say. I mean, and it's hard because I mean it's a personal experience thing,
Right.
especially with the original image. Like, so it's very
I mean, but that's what movies are about, though.
right.
They are your own personal experience.
They are personal experience. I just happen to have a really good one with those two scenes. Gosh, um, I feel like I'm gonna give this. I think I'm gonna pick the original Backrooms image, and I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna give it this a really high score.
Okay.
But I feel like I gotta say that like for me, this is among the best. Like I'm gonna say 5. Like
oh,
I
oh, oh! That's our first five. Wow.
but also I feel like there hasn't been as many moments in movies where I have been so like
You felt connected to it.
connected or
Yeah.
just so impacted by a single moment in the movie because like for me that's up there with like you think about like Iron Man gets the Infinity Stones in Endgame, like some of the most
wow.
impactful movie moments.
Wow.
For me, it was up there. I'm not gonna rank them because I don't want to say like one is higher
Right.
than the
Right.
other,
Right.
but
It's a
like
group. Yeah.
it does reach that level for me. I think it was such a big moment.
That's cool. I would have never thought that. Of course, I don't. Didn't have the previous connection.
Right.
I think for me, this is going to be interesting because my highlight might actually be the same scene as my low light. Like, um, I was really frustrated with one scene that I don't want to talk too much about here because I want to talk about in the storytelling part. but I'm gonna talk a little bit about it because I think it is my highlight. So I got to separate the two things that the one thing I really love and the one thing I really hate. And so in the scene where Pirate Clark, is that what we're calling him?
Captain Clark.
Captain Clark, not
Yeah.
Pirate Clark. Captain Clark is revealed as the villain or the antagonist, right? It I like the reveal. It was unexpected. Um, and like I said, I appreciated the villain throughout the movie, the monster or whatever, because in the beginning you didn't know who it was, and it was a good. Um, I don't know. I liked the mystery in the beginning, but I also liked the reveal.
Right.
I like that when Clark thought the monster was going to, like, I don't know, have a connection with him and like obey him and all this, that just didn't happen. That the monster was just a monster and totally
Yeah.
turned on him. I don't know why I like that. Maybe there's some I don't know. Maybe I need to see somebody about that. But like I don't know why I don't know why I liked it. But
I mean,
I
it was a twist. I
well,
could see
yeah, maybe it was
seeing
because
that.
it was a twist. Maybe because you didn't see it coming.
Right.
Maybe it was the surprise aspect of it. Both the reveal and the way he treated Clark when Clark tried to, like, I don't know. I think it because it also showed that at that moment and in that scene, Clark was so disconnected from reality,
Yeah.
and I think that was a really nice way to express how much he was disconnected with reality at that point, and not just disconnected with reality outside the back rooms, but disconnected with reality in the back rooms. He was just disconnected. Um, so it ended up being like a very memorable scene for me. So it kind of has to be my highlight, whether it's my favorite or not. I don't know. I don't know if I could name like a favorite. So maybe that is kind of how this lands as well. But it's definitely one of the most memorable. Now, it's also memorable because there's some things I hate about it, and I'll get to that in the next category. But as far as it just being like my highlight scene, I still, oddly enough, I still kind of want to rank it kind of high because I did feel something in that scene with the reveal, with the Captain Clark turning on Clark. I definitely felt something there. So gosh, I don't know if I want to go as high as a 4 just because of how weird I am about the rest of the scene. Um, but and like as far as comparing it to other movies, I'm gonna go 3.5. I think 4 is too much for me. It's not
Okay.
bad, so I can't go below 3 for sure because it's not bad. I mean, the other part is. Um, I almost want to go 3, but I'm feeling very generous, so I'll go 3.5. Um, I don't know why I'm generous, but whatever. Okay, so our last category, and we can take some time here, is the storytelling. So, how good do you feel like it did telling a story, and how much did you like the story? And yeah, where do you rank the storytelling?
It's kind of interesting because I'm not sure where to go from like the movie told a good story to like the Backrooms tells a good story because when I think of like the movie itself, I guess I think it tells a pretty good story, but I'm not sure. I guess where I think it tells a good story with the rest of the series because
Mm.
having seen the YouTube series,
Mm-hmm.
um, considering this is a part of it, it's like if you know what's going on prior, I think it does tell a good story. But I could
Okay.
see sometimes, especially there's some points when I first watched the movie because I had only seen maybe the original Backrooms video and I hadn't actually dived much into it.
Okay.
When I first saw the movie, I will be honest, there were a lot of times where I was like, okay, there are confusing things, and
Mm-hmm.
the story for the most part was there and it kind of made sense, but there was definitely a lot of times where you were questioning like why things were happening, what was going on, like what's the significance of this and that, and a lot of questions.
Right.
And then having gone and seen the YouTube series, a lot of things made sense. So I'm not sure where I want to like really take this from, because I could be like, well, if it's an episode in the series,
Hmm.
and you've done your due diligence to see the rest of it and you have that understanding, I would say it's pretty cool. It doesn't maybe reveal too much more
Yeah.
about the story. I think you get an insight into a couple different things, but I guess considerably
I think since we
it's
have two different perspectives,
right.
because I've not seen any of the other material,
Right.
and you have, I think you should take that into consideration and give your ranking based on all of it. And then, because my ranking can't be based on that, because
Right.
I don't have that. And so that way we can kind of see where we both land and let our listeners
Okay.
kind of see what that does. Like, yeah, so take all of that into consideration, and where do you land?
Yeah, okay. I think if I take it all into consideration, I think I think it tells a pretty decent story.
Hmm.
Now, it's maybe still not the best because, like I said before, I think even though it does tell a story, I think it reveals not less. I think there are still plenty of things you can take from the Backrooms movie and be like, oh, this does contribute to the overall story. I think it tells really a subsection almost, because the main story of the Backrooms really follows the company Async,
Hmm.
um, like most of the YouTube series, and it has some of the most significance, which is why I think towards the end of the movie is really where you get a lot of more significant details. So I will say, like, there were parts in the movie that definitely did feel like contributed to the story, and I feel like uh, they make a second movie, which I'm pretty sure they're doing. Um, I imagine it'll clear a lot more stuff up when it comes to the movies.
Yeah.
Um, so as a part of the series, I feel like it told a decent story. Maybe not the best, because again, it's not exactly telling the story of you know async
Hmm.
or some of the different parts of the back rooms. Um, it was kind of just like its own thing.
Right.
It was a part of it for sure, because you have things that were not really well introduced before, like the still lifes, where I don't know if or for sure on what Captain Clark is. I've heard theories that he is the entity from the original series,
Okay.
just like broken down. I've heard other theories that say like he was a still life, he was just different, but a lot of different things came from it. Um, Decent story. I feel like definitely a lot of questions raised, but I would say if I'm rating it with the series, it's maybe like a 3.5.
Okay. Not very high.
It's actually not very high. Like, it's hard because like the series as a whole is a good story. This specific part, even if I include the rest of the series, this movie helped,
Hmm.
and it raised more questions for us to answer, to
Hmm.
understand more about the Backrooms. But I just think there's a lot more we understand because of the rest of the series
Yeah.
than the movie alone.
Well, again, I've not seen any of the other source material. All I've ever seen is the movie in the theater, and I walked away from it very disappointed in the story. So my ranking's going to be low. My thing is there's the scene that I talked about with my highlight that I'm going to talk about, and then there's just several things throughout, and I think I mentioned when I was talking about pacing, the therapist, the scenes with her as a girl, the thing with her house, like I felt like all of it was convoluted and didn't like tell a story or like tell us how it fit into the overall story. And then she ends up, you know, at the end being kind of the character that we see at the end that I guess escapes the back room, right? but we kind of were left with a lot of questions there too, like not really understanding where that was going or what it meant. What's the story? So that wasn't very helpful. And then Clark, I I really wanted to like what we were doing with Clark's story. I thought connecting him with the two other characters, his assistant manager, and like was her boyfriend, I think. Um, them going in together and like him getting lost, not lost as in like lost, but lost as in like, oh well, he was obsessed, right? Um, and it all made sense. Like seeing him discover the back rooms and seeing how he was just enamored with it. It all made sense. I thought this was going to go somewhere interesting, and then they go together, and he's the only one that survives, and then we don't know why he survives. We don't know if he encountered Captain Clark and somehow escaped him, or if Captain Clark let him survive on purpose. We're not given any of that. And then he's connected again with Captain Clark in a later scene, the one that I discussed earlier. And that gap is just so weird from a storytelling perspective. We don't know what happened. Um, and then in that same scene, he has uh, the head of the assistant manager in the refrigerator. Have no idea what that's supposed to mean, because they were not in the same room together when she died, or at least we don't think they were, right? We don't know. We know the last scene we saw them, they were in two different rooms, and then supposedly Captain Clark comes into the room with Clark, and then we don't know what happens next. So there's so much mystery there that like there's never enough of a bow put on it. Like you can have mystery elements, but it wasn't working for me. And then his personality changed. Why did his personality become so starkly broken? Like I know he was already broken and seeing a therapist and all this stuff. We get that, but it manifested in a new way out of nowhere in that same scene. I was so completely confused as to why that happened, what was going through his mind, and then didn't he did he die in that scene when Captain Clark turned on him?
Yeah.
Right. So it's over for him. Like we don't get any closure. We don't and so from a storytelling perspective, I thought that was like it was kind of shocking, and so cinematically, like visually, I liked it. I liked the way it was put together. Storytelling wise, I hated it. I didn't had no idea where we were going, and then we move on basically from him being our protagonist to now the therapist is our protagonist because he dies and we're following her. That's fine, except we don't get good closure at the end of the movie with her. It's like I don't know what just happened. So I was extremely disappointed, but I think because I also felt like there was such high potential. Because early on, we're following the found footage scenes. It's really cool. We're following Clark, who's actually kind of interesting. We kind of want to see where this goes, and we're following these things, and I just don't feel like we get any payoff at all. It's kind of how I felt, and maybe that comes with a sequel. Maybe that comes with watching some of the source material. I don't know, but as somebody who just went to the theater and watched it, I was like, let down. So I actually going to go below a 3 here, and I'm going to go down to like a 2 storytelling wise because I just thought it blew all of its potential. Now again, other aspects of the movie I enjoyed. I enjoyed the concept in general, the liminal spaces. I enjoyed the visuals. I enjoyed the villain. There's just certain things about it I enjoyed. I hated the storytelling. Um, okay, we've ranked everything.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a calculation here and get our final averages?
Sure.
All right, I'll let you pull your calculator up. We'll get ready to do that. We are wrapping up this episode on the Backrooms. We have several movies that we've seen coming up. Um, Obviously, we watch a lot of movies, otherwise, this wouldn't make sense, right? we initially tried to pack in, not pack in, but like put together movies that went together. So we just got through recording Vivarium, and this is now the Backrooms, and they obviously went together. We have an episode. I don't know if we're going to have it out before this one comes out, or if we're going to change the order. But we have an episode that we did watching the original Magnificent Seven and a remake. And then we have some others that we want to put together that are like prequels, sequels, remakes, that kind of thing. We probably will continue do like one movie at a time, but just put them in sequence, so they'll get released together. Or we may do like we did with the Magnificent Seven episode and put them in together. Not really sure how that's going to work out. We'll see how we'll feel it out, play it by ear. Also, this has given us some motivation to go back to the theater, and I'm really excited about that. The next movie I think we're going to get to see in the theater is going to be Supergirl, coming up the end of this month. So we may need to start planning some episodes around that. I don't know what we'll watch, or we may just do it all by itself. I don't know, but I like connecting movies together.
Right.
So the previous episode to this one being Vivarium, and then putting others together. So maybe we can make a decision on Supergirl. We could just rewatch Superman. Um, when did that come out? This is 2026, so it was just last year.
Last year, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, we could just rewatch that. Maybe that'd be really cool. But okay, you got our averages to see how we scored these.
I do. I will say, your score for this movie was lower than Vivarium.
Well, okay, but before you tell me what it is, just knowing that I think makes sense, because when I go to recommend movies and I say Vivarium versus Backrooms, I feel like I'm going to have more positive to say about Vivarium, even though I'm going to also say, yeah, it's got a weird ending, and I don't really think I like that part of it. The Backrooms, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's really cool, but it is all over the place, and I don't know. I'm going to be, yeah.
It wasn't actually by a huge margin, though. It was by 0.3. Your total score for the Backrooms was 3.3.
Okay.
So not like a whole lot less.
But that makes sense, though.
But it was still less. Mine was way
higher.
Way higher than Vivarium, but makes sense. My total was 4.4.
That's pretty high.
It is pretty high. I mean, 0.6, and you've got perfect movie, which I don't know about that, but
well, okay. But do you feel good about ranking it that high? Or do you think if you did this all over again, you might have to rethink it?
It's hard to say, to be honest. I don't know. I think, because I guess I almost have to look back and think like, well, why did it get so high? 4.5 for the visuals, I feel like was fair. I feel like visually this is one of the better movies I've seen.
I did enjoy it visually too.
Pacing 4.5. Maybe if I was a bigger critic of pacing, because I feel like for me, like I said, it's one end or the other,
right,
and sometimes the middle. So like, if I was a bigger critic on pacing, maybe it would have gotten a lower score.
Okay.
Maybe the best moment was like, see, I don't even know if I want to say it's a bit much, because I really do think for me that was,
and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Is for you.
And the story, I gave it a low score because I think it was pretty average. Like I said, I think the rest of the series you get way more out of than the movie.
So you're pretty happy with your score?
Maybe 4.4 is about right. I think the truth is, like, would I recommend it? I think I would recommend it for all of those reasons. Like I said, the visual, I guess pacing. If that's, I don't think too many people go into the theater talking about pacing. I think some of its best moments are pretty memorable.
Yeah.
Potentially, even if you don't really know the source material, if you know as little as the original picture, I feel like some of the best moments in that movie you'll find. 4.4, I think is fair enough. I feel like it's definitely one of those movies that if you don't know anything about, got to give it some leeway when you go in. But I would probably say I recommend the movie, and I think the rating is, I think
people should watch it. And since we've talked a little bit about theaters, And then, of course, I've also admitted that I personally just tend to prefer certain movies over others. But when I consider my ranking, um, I'm also thinking if you came to me right now and said, "Hey, it's still playing. Should I go watch it?" I would be hesitant. I'd be like, "You can catch it on streaming. Don't waste your money." And at the same time, I also feel the complete opposite in some ways because we got to watch it together, and it obviously meant a lot to you, and I could kind of like feel some of that watching it. So I think that's what I like about movies where, and we've said it a couple of times, it really is all about personal experience. And so I did have a good time watching it. I um, I remember the moment, the one jump scare when I jumped and I almost looked over at you. I was like, "Did you catch me? Did he catch me?" I remember thinking in my head, like, "Did you see that?"
I
Um,
don't think I did.
I
I
totally
think
jumped.
was it the one at the beginning of the
It
movie
was very
when he
early.
like turns the corner right before the
Yes.
tape ends? He gets
I don't remember if it was. I don't remember if it was the found footage or if it was the first time Clark. I think it might have been the first time Clark encountered the monster. It was, like I said, more of a shadow.
mm,
But I think there was a scene, and it might have been the found footage. I don't remember now. But it was one of them. They kind of turn a corner, and there's like a shadowy figure that jumps out. Maybe it is the found footage. Now that I think
yeah.
about it. But yeah, I totally like had a jump scare moment there. So I those are cool experiences. I feel like so. But yeah, if you're not into any of this, and you're just like, is it a movie worth watching? It might not be. Like that's just kind of my gut feeling. It might not be. It's not
Right.
for everyone. Okay, if you don't like slow burn, you definitely shouldn't watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you don't like slow burn, I actually do like slow burn, and I think that's why Bavarian was also a good movie to me, even if I had issues with some of the storytelling.
Right.
I do appreciate a good slow burn.
Right. I do too. I think that was for Vivarium, that was what killed it for me. Is like I like a slow burn, but ones that are rewarding, that one didn't feel rewarding at all.
Yeah, right,
But
right.
otherwise, slow burns, I like those. Those are good.
Right. So, okay, look forward to some more stuff coming out soon. Definitely between now and the end of the month. And then hopefully at the end of the month, we'll go watch Supergirl.
Right.
I had to save some allowance for that one, I guess. But yeah, we'll cut this one off here. We had a good time. Maybe I'll find the button.